morning, everyone. This is Laveena. So glad that you could join me. This is the introductory open house class for the Living Your Design Guide training program. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll go ahead and get started. If you're interested in becoming a certified Living Your Design Guide, then you're in the right place, because today we're going to talk about what that is, what you can do as a guide, how you can be the most successful as a guide, and how I can personally help you on that path, because I have been a guide for 4 years now successfully. I've been training and teaching this program for that whole entire time. From the moment I became certified, the next 2 weeks later, I was advertising my first class, because I was invited and recognized by a manifestor into that. And that's the person that I took this teacher training from, was Laveena Diaz, who is a manifestor and one of Ra's really great friends, and who translated all of his programs for about 20 years. He's been doing this. I think it's maybe 18 years he's been doing this human design as a teacher. So I'm really excited to be able to share things with you. I've also got some surprise gifts for you. I have got an aura lecture from a teacher in human design. Her name is Marianne Winiger. She's a splenic generator, and she was one of the first women to actually, persons to actually take the new way Ra delivered readings, which was type, strategy, and authority. She took that and started to experiment with it, and she wrote a book on it. So this is something that I'm going to give to you at the end of this presentation, is her 2-hour aura talk with a PDF of the slide illustrations, so that you can be, whether you decide to join me or join anyone else for a Living Your Design Guide teacher training to be a guide, you can have this if you're entering the class with me, or if you're already a certified pro. So just to let you know that is something that I can give to you. That's her gift from her to you. And there's also an additional workshop for LYD guides if you want to go into that. That is part of my slide presentation that I'm going to be doing later this week, which is how BG5 can help you succeed as a human design professional. And that's actually one of the things that I want to talk about, is that in this program, Me with You, it's going to be very different than all of the classes you've ever taken before. In that, there's a lot of practicum, there's a lot of mentoring, and there aren't going to be a lot of new slides for you. We're going to be going over how to teach the Living Your Design Guide, or the Living Your Design workshop. They call it a workshop. I like to call it an awakening program, or an awakening experience, because who really wants to go to a workshop, right? You want to be able to, and this is me speaking as a contagion, cross of contagion. What works is infecting other people with your passion, with your recognition that this has a deep potential to transform someone's life. And so rather than calling it a workshop, which implies that you're going to, one event, workshop, rather than workshops, right? You're usually going to be teaching, most people will be teaching this program over a period of time, which is, there's 2 ways to teach Living Your Design workshop. And that is one all day, 2 days, over 2 days, a weekend course, or there's the extended version. In this program, I'm going to teach you the best practices that I've found for both of them. There's going to be audio from Ra Uru, who some of you who have already signed up have this audio training program where he teaches you how to do the LYD guide training, and he does it over his format, his structure that he gives you is the weekend course. So I'm going to go over how you do that, and then I'm going to go over how I've personally taken that 8 sessions. I'm going to teach you how to do the 8 sessions if you want to, but I'm also going to teach you how to do the 10 sessions. And I really recommend that if you're an emotional person, that you do the 10 sessions rather than the 8. Now, it does extend the time out a little bit, but there's going to be some tips and tricks that I will convey onto you that will help you no matter which format you choose to take. The weekend course, the take and teach, the weekend course, the 8-session course, or the 10-session course, okay? And I'll break that down for you. The other thing that I'm going to do for you in this is, on this slide, you're looking at my career design. So not only am I a certified analyst, an ABCs teacher, a cartography teacher, an LYD teacher, obviously, and now an LYD guide trainer, I also have taken a year of the BG5 Career and Business certification program, and I've also assisted with the foundations there twice. And I've also started OC16. OC16 is large business, BG5 is small business. So basically, it's all human design, but if we're looking at BG5, it's how are we homogenized in groups and how are we here to work together successfully so that we can make a profit? Because when you get 3 to 5 people together in a small group, you have got what we call a penta, and these are the penta channels. So one of the things that I'm going to provide to you, because I know how this works, is I'm going to help each of you that become my students. And in this first program, I'm not going to do it with every program in the future, but in this first program, I'm going to add on a training experience for you where we're going to go into your career designs. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that you guys all have this information and how to read these maps, these charts that you see on this page. And you're also going to get the bonus of looking at your profit potentials and how you're here to make money. So there's a concept that I want to impart to you today so that you can be assured that you're doing the right thing for you in your business so that you can be materially successful. Because I know that all of you are here because you've recognized that human design can really help empower other people because you've seen it empower you yourself. But it's very different to go through all this training and have your personal experience be able to be transmitted to somebody else. Because when you do something for you, that's you and your experience. It's not duplicatable, not nearly exactly. However, everyone has openness in their designs. Everyone has places where we have wisdom potential. And this is the shift that I want you to make. If you're new to me and you haven't had any of my classes, you may not know this, but in your openness is where you have conditioning. It's where you have your deepest areas of shadow, your mind shadow, where you're perhaps making decisions that are not in alignment with your best interest, with your way, your unique way of moving through the world. Now, if we flip that and all this openness, rather than using it for personal decision making, we use the openness to advise other people our wisdom of how we see the world, what we recognize when, as an example, I'm recognized and invited. If you're a generator, when you're asked, when you have an opportunity to interact with another person, where you're having the communion of what it is to be a unique being that can see a differentiated perspective that is not invested personally in the outcome of the other person. So you're not leading them where you think they should go so that you can benefit. That's a really big, important key point and a switch for you, especially projectors, to make when it comes to utilizing this information for other people successfully. Okay, so when you can do that, when you can truly be there for the other and release any expectations of the result, whether they take it, whether they are successful with it, when you can be completely objective with your advice and you're speaking from the openness in your design, there are specific ways that you can utilize your advice for a profit. And that's one of the things that I'm going to instruct you upon once you're completed with the LYD guide training. Now, because we are mentoring throughout all this, and there's not going to be new slide presentations that I'm doing, we can have time for Q&A after. So the lecture pieces are going to be this time, this place, my regular Zoom room. So we're going to be able to see each other's cameras and talk to each other face to face. We're going to be doing it the next 10 weeks. So not this week. This week is just a free bonus week. But 10 weeks after that, if you sign up, you're going to have 10 weeks with me where we're going through all of the training modules of how to deliver living your design. And we're going to be mentoring together, and you're welcome to ask me questions, but you're also going to get at least 3 bonus sessions afterwards. Okay, they're not scheduled yet, but afterwards. And that's going to be something that I may open up to the outside world, depending on how many of you are here. There might be a couple more people joining, but they're going to have to pay for it. You guys get it for free, okay? Whether you've signed up before, or whether you sign up today, you're going to get that for free. And the reason I'm doing this is because I haven't yet done it in a group environment. I'm really excited about this information because I've been doing profit potential workshop, or not workshops, but profit potential and money line readings for people for about a year now. It's something that is not yet taught at the let's see, I'm going to go to BG5. It's not yet taught at the BG5 Institute, but I'm teaching it with this semester with Karen. We're working on slides right now where we've been collaborating to help certify people in this. But this profit centers and money lines information, I've been doing it one-on-one with people. And because you guys are going through LYD guide training with me, I want to see how it can translate into a group environment. So it's going to be my first experience at doing it in workshop with you. So I'm really, really excited about this because this is one of the biggest things that has helped inform my own personal success. So where this material comes from, if you want the original source material, you can go to jovianarchive.com and you can get, I believe it's the 64 material ways course, okay? It's a huge course. It's really expensive. Wait until they put it on sale because they do it about every year or so because they do a big special package and a big discount. But what I'm doing for you is I'm going to help you look at your design and see where your profit potentials are. So on these 2 slides, I have some examples of the things that I'm going to be looking at your charts with you and showing you how to read this so that you know where your leadership characteristics are, how you're here to be creative, how your strengths perhaps, and your creative expression. This is mine on the slide, and these are my material ways down here. And I'm going to describe for you how you're here to sell and make money with the openness. Remember, you're not here to make decisions, personal decisions about your life and your life experience from the openness. However, everywhere you have openness, you have a potential for profit. And so those are the things that we're going to go over as a bonus. And that will help me help you become successful. And me as a projector, I'm deeply aware that I have the potential to contagiate you with enough knowledge that can make you successful if you resonate to the way that I teach and you're part of my tribe. So where was I going to go? I was going to show you, this is just one of the slide decks that I got from Alaka Diaz. And there's a piece here. Oh yes, I wanted to show you, it's a terrible slide, but you'll get the download of the presentation too, by the way, guys. This is terrible in that it's very small images here. We're going to be going over the 4 quarters, which you can see behind me, a little bit more in this than maybe the foundation classes, so that you can understand the different areas of the mandala wheel in a deeper way. Because one of the things that you need to do as a Living Your Design guide, there's actually 2 things I want you to be very well empowered with when you go forward into the world teaching this information. You need to have a solid foundation, a grounding in the basics, the fundamentals of human design, so much so that you know at least 70% more than your students. That's a lot. And so to have this really well ingrained in your body, another thing that I'm going to provide to you besides the BG5 benefit of looking at your charts. So we're going to go through all of your charts from the financial aspect perspective, from the business and career consulting perspective after you finish your certification. But another thing that you're going to need to do is know this stuff really well for you. So my invitation to you here personally as my student, this is not a public thing that I put out into the world. Once you've already shown me that you're invested in your personal education, this is one of my profit potentials, I'm selling you how to be educated. So you're going to be able to take any classes with me that I already teach, LYD, ABC, cartography, for free. You're going to be able to audit it for free. Normally I charge 50% So that's my pricing to anybody who hasn't taken any of those classes. From the outside world, they want to come in, it's 50% so that they can be a part of the group, and they show me that they're invested in their education, that they're willing to put in the time, the energy exchange for me as a projector is important. But once you're part of my tribe, once you're part of us, Gate 21, selling, being worthy, being part of us, you are my tribe, and I want to make sure that you know this stuff. I have had the benefit of working for BG5, working for IHDS, working for Jovian Archive for many years now, and I've bought everything that you can possibly buy on Jovian Archive, or up until a year ago. I bought everything. I have everything on Jovian Archive, and I've listened to it over and over and over again. I know that hardly anybody out there has the ability to get all of that stuff and listen to it over and over again. I've just been obsessed. And you'll see some of the reasons why as we go through this program, why that happened and how I've managed to use it. But anyway, what reason I came to this slide, these are the 4 quarters. You can see them behind me as well. There's the Godheads. These are the actual definitions. I want to show you this. This is where I am. My personality sun is gate 30. And these are the definitions that come up when you highlight all of the areas in the quarter. So what do you notice? I want to have you interact with me now, chat into the chat box. What do you notice about the quarter of initiation? Why is it called the quarter of initiation? What is its purpose fulfilled through? So go ahead and type into the chat. Oh, thank you, Helena. I woke up at 6. Yeah, mind. Thank you, Victoria, Veronica, and Kathy. Mind. It's purpose fulfilled through mind. This is the channel of initiation, a design of needing to be first. Needing to be first. Okay? These people, everybody with their personality sun, if your personality sun is here, you are here to, quote unquote, wake up first, is what Ross said. You're here to initiate this mind's process and educate other people, or be an example of however it is filtered through your design, to the people who are in the quarter of civilization, purpose fulfilled through form, who then take it to the people, and I should do that down here because here's the quarter of civilization, purpose fulfilled through form, and then take it to these people. Those people take it over here into the quarter of duality, purpose fulfilled through bonding, and then we have the quarter of mutation, purpose fulfilled through transformation. That's the way the energy moves in this wheel. So that's part of what I'm here to help you fulfill. And the way that I do that, help you in my personal fulfillment, the way that I do that in my design is that I'm the one who tells you what not to do. What mistakes have I made that I can transmit to you? I'm going to universalize that so that you can be successful. Okay? So the way that I do this is I figure out, I should say, yeah, openness, lots of openness, but I experiment with. This is the realm of actually having experiences, wisdom, potential, actually having the experience, making the mistake, and then learning from it. So there's going to be a lot of don't do this, and me personally sharing stories of how I managed to perhaps make mistakes out here, but yet learn what's the material way. If you look at all the third lines, and I have a lot of third lines in my design, third lines are the ones that have the determination to stand up and try again when they've fallen down on their ass perhaps and made a mistake, and they learn what really works on the material plane. So you can see that in my design, I have a lot of third lines in open or undefined centers. I'm going to sell you on these things because I know that that's what works. I have had the experience of that working. I know that there's a way that you can quit doing what you don't love and doing what you are passionate about, so that you can have the experience of living with a life of purpose rather than fearing you're going to die without fulfilling your purpose. You have an experience of succeeding and getting rid of that fear of failure, letting go of the fear of the past so that you can feel good. Being able to recognize the solutions, the patterns that you can repeat in order to provide an identification with this experiment for the other, recognizing how to improve upon this whole process of becoming a living your design guide and being able to transmit that either one-on-one if you decide to do that, if that's your way, or if you want to do it in groups, which is one of the ways that I'm here to do it. What happens to you in a group? What is the best way for you to be able to articulate and take this information out into the world? We're going to work with your guys' charts in this. So it's a deepening of a process of awakening to what you really are in this life, in this world, for yourself and for the other, and how you're going to be able to take this and transmit the flame that Ra, put out into the world, his passion, his fire, his initiation, his innovation, his impact. If you're a projector like me, we're here to master that system and help bring it forth into the world. If you go onto Jovian Archive, there's a video called Clarion's Call. If you're really interested in taking this out, I highly recommend that you listen to this, because it can be very, very impactful. It's one of the first videos that I watched that I went, oh my God, this is it. This is what I found it. I found the thing. I found the concept I can really be sure of, which is one of my wisdom areas, my profit potentials. I'm here to sell you on education and what you can be certain of. So the other pieces, I could keep talking about how I'm here to be a leader, how I'm here to lead you through recognizing, remembering, sharing what I remember from the past. I'm here to jumpstart your business. That's what a 14 does. I'm here to give you the right rhythms and routines that are going to make you successful. I'm here to support your recognition of what's going to be most nourishing for you and your tribe. I'm here to help you not start things, but bring to a cycle of experience at the ending of something. So quit doing that stuff that you're doing over there that you hate, and come on over here and do the thing that you love, which is helping people. Human design can really, really help people. You've noticed, right? If I could go, I was looking last night at my pictures on my cell phone. And at some point I'll do this, maybe at the end of this course, but I've been inspired for a while going over all these old pictures of me and seeing that I do not look like the same person 10, 11 years ago that I do now. I'm entering my 7th year now. So it's been 7 years of working with this system, because as a projector, I listened to one of my readings from Becky Markley, who is one of my favorite personal analysts. She's a 5/1 splenic projector. And she also worked for Jovian Archive, super slaved away until she couldn't do it anymore, just like me. I did that, and all of a sudden I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to give that up and worked into other avenues of expression. But she said to me, as soon as you are aware, for you as a projector, that you can help other people, you do not need a certification to do that. Kind of heretical, right? She's a 5/1. You do not need a certification to help other people with human design. And so when I took this in, I started using it right away, even before I became a certified guide. Now, I'm not advising that you do that. I'm just letting you know that it is possible for you to use this system to be able to help people no matter what level of education you're at. You've probably already experienced that. Even if you're a generator, you got enough information, you know what it's like physically in your body to respond, and you've transmitted that to perhaps another generator who you saw took that information and was able to impact their own life, improve their own experience of their life. Does anybody else relate to that? You've done this, yes, without a certification? And she said that because I'm a projector. Yes, Helena, because the thing is that as an emotional projector, particularly a split definition projector, I'm designed to be one of the best people at being an analyst. It's something that Ross said that she told me. It's just the way that it works. Not that my design is better or than anybody else's. I'm also one of the deeply, as a split definition projector, at the top of the hierarchy of really messed up, I was about to swear, but really messed up individuals. So the dramatic change that I have had between the moment of finding human design, which is about maybe 3 or 4 days from now, 7 years ago, the first time that somebody said, you need to know this stuff. He took me by the shoulders and shook me. You need to know this stuff, because he thought I was a generator, because I was acting like a generator. And I was really deeply, deeply miserable, unhappy to the point of wanting to kill myself on a regular basis. Like, this was just my mind's process of coping. Oh God, I just want to end it all. It's just too miserable to be here. Only the not self suffers in this life. Only the not self yearns and longs for something that it is not. So if you learn enough of this stuff, this human design system, there's this common quote that Ra has out there, and I think I might have put it in here. I either put it in here or another presentation that I made for you guys. Yeah, it's not in this one, it's another one. Maybe it's in here. So I was working on this too. Nope. Okay. So the thing is what he says is, there's a big difference, I'm paraphrasing, between learning human design and living it. So what you guys are, if you choose to join me on this journey, and here's all my friends here, you guys who are my first class going through this experience with me, brave soldiers you. I'm looking at Kathy, and I know she's got that history is also a gate 26, which is soldiers of fortune, the people who are here to really, money making. I'll show you. There's a couple of different concepts I want to share with you right now. But there's a really important thing that's happening. Here is the stream of capitalism. So whatever you've got in your design, whether you've got a piece of this, just one gate, maybe you've got a whole channel like Kathy, that's what I was talking about here. Design of a transmitter, channel of surrender. Maybe you've got it completely open and you've got your life cycles that are influencing you now at this time. Making money with human design is something that you can absolutely do as long as you're fully committed to yourself and your experiment, and you're ready to just surrender to the fact that if you trust it, it will provide for you. And I'm not promising this from my lips. I'm transmitting something to you that I heard him say to a group of individuals who were studying to become analysts. The moment that you decide to give up doing anything that you're frustrated about, if human design really is your passion, doing anything that doesn't really serve you as a being, your unique path and purpose, if you get on board with the resonance of your vibratory frequency and you begin things correctly, you're going to find that life gives you what you need. It's one of the things that he transmits in the 64 material ways. Life will provide for you. Life will give you what you need if you can surrender to the design. So this decision that I'm telling you about, it cannot come from a mental place. It has to come from your strategy and authority, okay? And then you get what you need. So I'm going to help you in every way that I can with this. And one of the ways I'm telling you that works is what Ra was saying, going back to that quote. Learning human design is not the same as living it. So for me as an emotional projector, it took me a long time to experience actually making correct decisions, because as a projector, there is no immediate invitation to the correct living environment, career, love of your life, friendships. It just doesn't happen, because in the beginning, when you come to your experiment, you are transferred, and that's if you haven't heard of that term, we'll talk about it in this course. You're transferred over to a motivation that's not correct for you. Your perspective is not clear. You're distracted over to a way of seeing that's not correct for you. And it seems so profound, like that's the way that you have to make decisions, all the openness. It takes some time, especially for an emotional projector, takes some time to process and really get the experiences of what it's like to live and be yourself. And once you have the capacity to change your vibratory frequency, which takes time, right? 7 years of that cellular deconditioning process, it takes time for the cells to renew themselves and to let go of the old habits, the old patterns, the old routines, the conditioning from the openness, the adaptive strategies, the illusion that your mind builds based on your openness is something that takes time and experience in order to process what it's actually like physically in your body, to make decisions from the not self, to make decisions from the true self. So those, one of the things that I need to transmit to you, if you're going to take this seriously, and if you're paying $1,850 to join this class with me, you are taking it seriously. I can see that you're invested in your education and that you truly want to help other people. If you have had the experience of living your design and you have the cellular awakened experience that you can then transmit to another person, that's what's going to be successful as a living your design guide. So I do not want you to enter this program if you do not feel or recognize that you are making decisions correctly as yourself, because that's the first step. You need to be a living example of this knowledge embedded into your DNA. The process of awakening transforms your cells in a way that makes it so you have a different frequency that can be transmitted to another person. So that's what works. You have to be deeply involved in your own personal experiment. You have to be awakened to at least what it's like for you to make decisions correctly as yourself. And this is one of the things I know that Ra said in multiple different classes and such. He would say, how many of you have I watched over the years and you still can't follow your design? So if you're attempting to become a teacher, an educator, a guide, an example, however it is that you're designed to be an example. Some of you, you're here to be examples in different ways. These role model hermits, that's a different kind of example than my kind of 3-5-ness, the martyr heretic example. Different example for Kathy to be this influential role model, or this opportunist role model, trusted leader. For Veronica, opportunist role model. This networker who is a role model. Very, very different than Jennifer, who is here to be an authoritative, determined discoverer. So you can hear that I've mixed some keynotes in there. Those are some keynotes from BG5 that I'm also going to be using with you, so that you have more language to be able to describe to people what it's like to be on track as opposed to what it's like to be off track. So an off track, could be very much deeply fearful and insecure and woe is me, poor me, why now? If you're trying to teach, be a role model, and you're still in the frequency of not self, meaning deeply transferred, deeply distracted, making spontaneous decisions in the now, I'm just speaking as an example here, then you're not making the biggest impact that you can with the people that you serve. So one of the things I don't want to scare anybody off either. I do want you to know that going through all of these classes, any class in human design, can be like a therapy, in that it's therapeutic for you to recognize what's going on within you, within your system, so that you can then experience it in the world with awake eyes. Awake simply means seeing clearly. Awake, open eyes. You're seeing from a differentiated perspective, your perspective, which is utterly unique from every other person in this life. And so taking the class, even though you may not feel secure enough in the knowledge to go on then and teach it, I've known other Living Your Design guides who got the guide training and did not do anything with it for years until they finally recognized, now my frequency is not distorted. Now I can make an impact, or I can guide, or I can advise. Now I'm ready. So that readiness is going to come along at different paths at different times for everyone. And it's not something that you're comparing or measuring against anybody else, because all of us have our own unique process. So Helena is asking, when you use BG5 keynotes, please give us to us in written form. Otherwise, it doesn't stay in my mind if it does, since it is your second language. Okay. So Helena, one of the things that I want you to recognize is that the BG5 keynotes languaging actually came out of human design. So if you start to study Ra, I actually already came across a lot of Ra's BG5 keynotes studying human design even before I became BG5 certified. So if you want to know the official keynotes of BG5, it's not that you're taking something and using it. I'm not sure where I was going with that concept. I just want you to understand that I don't think that I can keep up on that promise because sometimes there's a flow to the conversation. As an example, here, let me show you. BG5 keynotes are inspiration function, conceptualization function, communication and action function, willpower function, identity and direction function, identity function, emotional intelligence function, survival instincts, energy resource, and drive and stamina. Do you see how I can't really stop every single time and give you BG5? Because it's already in the language. I was pointing that out to you to describe for you, show you the difference, how you can use this language once you've got enough of an education in it. You can use this language to truly empower the other person just by looking at a chart and going deeply into speaking to their genetic potential. And so, as an example, if you were, say, 20 years old, you were in the middle of your process of your first 30 years still, you've had lots of pain and suffering, perhaps as a sixth line, bonding with the wrong people, making lots of mistakes, you have a fragility and an innocence about you. And I was to come and give you a human design reading, and I would speak to the fact that you're a trusted leader and everybody looks to you to be this Buddha on the hill that's enlightened. You wouldn't necessarily resonate to it. So the language has to be adjusted to what you feel is coming back from you in the frequency of that person. So this is one of the reasons why Ra said, human design is truly impactful, one person at a time, waking up one person at a time. So it may be, depending on your design, that you want to give this to people one person at a time. Now, I know with your design that you're here to be successful, perhaps if it's correct for you, if you respond to it in very large groups of people, not just in the one person at a time or the small group. You have a potential to be a leader of a larger group of people. And that's part of what I'm going to transmit to you when we do the mentoring is, how do you guys be successful in this? How do you recognize what a correct opportunity is going to be for you? It's always going back to strategy and authority. But if you've got some breadcrumbs along the way of what's in your genetic potential, it's kind of like that fake it till you make it thing. I had no idea in the beginning of my experiment that the small group environment would be my favorite place to teach, my favorite place to be, because anytime it would be my turn to speak when I first became involved in human design community, even though I'd spoken on stages before, I would get really, really nervous and uncomfortable and afraid my voice would quaver. I would never have imagined being able to do this with you guys, where we're in an environment where I see all your pictures and I know that you're listening to me and paying attention, that I would have confidence in my voice. So there's a change. I recognize that this happens, that, it took me a few years to get comfortable with this idea. And then once somebody this was Alok, initiated me into teaching because he invited me right out of class. Hey, let's go. Let's do this. I'll come in. I'll teach one of the classes for you. He didn't even ask for any money. He just wanted to be a special guest. He wanted to get me started. He recognized something in me. I can't thank him enough, because otherwise my 48 would have been so afraid and so fearful that I didn't have enough depth. My Ajna center would have said, I don't want to have anybody ask me a question that I don't know the answer to. I can't do this. I'm not good enough yet. There's something wrong with me still. I don't know if I'm really living my design. All of the not self-mind crap. So yeah, this experience, I'm so excited, you guys, because this is the first time I'm not going to have to read slides and stay in a structure. She says, okay, thanks a lot. Fake it till you make it. Sounds interesting experience that you share. Yeah, 48th step of fear I recognize. It's that you're learning at this level, you're learning so much more about how to, not only yourself, but how do you take it and transmit it to another person. This is what the Living Your Design Guide training is about. So we are going to have those 10 classes like I mentioned, and my screen, my writer has frozen, so I'm going to just stop my share and then reshare so that I can erase the slide presentation here. Okay, so the other part, the other component of the class that you guys are going to need to do is that, now this is something that you have a requirement of attendance. You need to be able to show that you can deliver the information. So there are going to be practicums. They're called practicums. And we're just going to do these practicums with you guys delivering the basic slide presentation that you can buy from Human Design Canada, or you can make your own. It's completely up to you. So you can either buy it from Human Design Canada, have those slides and play with them and make them yours, or you can create it from scratch if you want to, using images you find off the internet. Totally up to you. I do advise, particularly if you're a projector, just buying the slide presentation from Human Design Canada and then modifying it, because it's a lot less work that way. It has all the basic fundamentals on those slides. So those are the slides that I'm going to want you guys to deliver from, or your own version of it, okay? This is the science of differentiation. I completely understand if you want to take this and do your own. You are here to transmit it in your own way. Each of you has a unique transmission depending on your design of how you're going to be influential with the other person, how you're going to be a role model of this material, how you're going to be an authority on this material, how you're going to be a contagion of this material. So the thing that I want you to know is that those classes, if you cannot make it for whatever reason, and again, these are classes I've done my best to try and get it so that everybody can attend. It's going to be Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific and Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific. And that lets our people who are overseas in different areas of the world, hopefully everybody can make it and be live with us, because the live group environment really does make a huge difference when it comes to recognizing what's going on with the other person as they're delivering, what worked, what didn't work, okay? So you're learning from not just me. Just because I'm the teacher doesn't mean that I'm the only authority here. Each of you in your process is already an authority of what it's like to be you and to live your design. And you guys can see, for those of you who are not in this class yet, who have not signed up, you can see the students that I go through. These are the people who are joining us on this journey this time. Okay, and the only difference between this class is that it's my first one, and for that reason I'm giving you the bonus of letting you go through another few classes with me, 3 classes, maybe more. We'll see how much energy I have and how much time we have to mentor with each other. I'm going to help you with that BG5 information so that I know that you guys have a really good start, okay? And I want you to recognize how you're here to be the most materially successful and still follow your own strategy and authority. So we're going to always reinforce that. So there's one more component of the Living Your Design Guide training program. One more, and that is to audit an actual class that is being taught by a certified guide. Now, you do not have to audit my class. You can choose to audit any other teacher out there. Depending on who they are, they might ask for an audit fee. Okay, because the requirement is that they're going to need to meet with you after class and hear from you what you saw that worked, what you had any questions on, what you recognized that didn't work. So there's a component of interactivity with this last piece, and that is the observational piece. So there's the educational piece, the mentoring piece, where we're going to go over all of the different ways you could teach these presentations, deliver the information, the tips and tricks for being successful delivering it. And then you're going to practice it, and you're also going to have given the opportunity to observe. Now, there's certain people in this class so far. Jennifer and Helena have already watched Darshana deliver this in a 2-day format. Veronica watched me do it in a 2-day format, as well as Kenneth. And Kathy has seen me do it over a longer period of time, the 10-week program. Okay, so now you guys are more than welcome to join any future classes. If you haven't done it with me, even if you have done it with me, you're welcome to, of course, observe and audit and meet with me afterwards if you have questions for any length of time. Okay, I really want you guys to have a solid foundation and an opportunity to really integrate this. When I first learned Living Your Design, I took it from Darshana, who taught it with a generator, co-taught it with a generator. And I was also taking the video delivery of Genoa Bliven, who is the manifester at Human Design America. I then took it with another generator, the person who was the editor for this book, Bethy Black. I took all 3 classes, BG5 or LYD, ABC, cartography in person. Learned a lot there, even after taking those classes with those other 3 teachers. And then, of course, I've listened to all of the things from Ra. I took Alaka Nandias's foundation courses, the LYD, ABC, cartography, and his guide training. And I've listened to other teachers teach as well. I took my original LYD guide training from, what's her name? Somebody who teaches foundations at Carol Zimmerman. Carol Zimmerman is a 4/6 who teaches at IHDS. And so I've taken her class as well as her teacher training. So I've multiple times. I recognize that that's what's going to really work for you if you want to be serious about your education and get a lot of exposure to different questions and experiences. The repetition is the mother of all learning. And the more that you have the capacity to take this in, you know, depending on who and how you take things in. I'm somebody who's deeply receptive. I will just take in. Kathy, is this the correct time now? I did change it. So she has a focus, a mental focus that she may need to take some notes. And at the same time, her brain is just absorbing. Veronica, very strategic, needs to focus and will only remember certain things at that time when she takes it in. Helena, you have the focused mind and the receptive brain. And Jennifer, all focus. So a lot of you guys are, lots of focus here, lots of strategic brains. So at this time, we've been going for about 50 minutes. I want to have you, especially those of you with this brain, so this brain over here on the left-hand side, get up, get something hot to drink or a snack, make sure that you're refreshed and not fatigued listening to me, and we're going to do some questions and answers. We're going to talk about what, as far as now, here's the open house piece. What do you need to know from me as we move forward into this experience? Is there any other information that you need? Recognition of something that you've been having a problem with, an insecurity, a fear. How can I help support you in moving forward? So that's the thing that we're going to go into next. One last piece is that just some mechanical delivery of the information, like strategic, not strategic. The things that I need to let you know as far as how I work and how I deliver. So all of our classes moving forward are going to be live. You're going to see me here on Tuesdays and on Fridays, where you guys are going to do the work on Fridays. I get to sit back and just listen to you. I will, of course, offer any, and all of us will offer any constructive criticism or things that we noticed, things that we liked, things that we want to encourage you. This is a supportive group, and you are part of the family if you're joining us. So this is not something to feel like you're nervous about delivering. It's just practice. Okay, there's nobody else watching but us chickens. We're just going to have the experience of delivering, practicing. Okay, and then that's one last piece I need to tell you, is that I do not have a Living Your Design scheduled for this fall quite yet. I do have Veronica, who is going to maybe co-teach if she feels comfortable and that's something that she's ready for. But there's maybe 3 or 4 people that have reached out to me that are like, I want to take LYD. When is the next one? And I just don't have it planned yet because I have a lot of classes this fall. Besides the LYD, ABC, cartography that I'm teaching, I've also got OC16, rave psychology, and the profit potential workshop. So we'll figure out a nice place for it, but that's another opportunity for those of you who have not yet audited, which you guys have all audited, you guys that are signed up. If there's another person that signs up, that's the one that you're going to want to join to audit, and you're going to need to let me know what works for you because we need you to be there live. It's not something that you can do via recording. So all of this, Tuesdays are the only days that I will allow you to miss and not have to make up. You can catch the recording. Now the thing is if you're not here on Tuesdays, we're not working with your charts. So do try to show up with all of these classes. Okay, I really like it when people are there to be able to communicate with, because there's a lot more energy. In today's class, because this is an open house and it's open to everybody, we don't have our cameras on, but normally there's cameras where we can see each other and see who's talking and really get a feel for a sense of where they're coming from. And we're looking at charts and speaking to, as much as I can, to your designs to help you conceptualize and really take in the information deeply and understand it. Comprehend it for yourself deeply enough to where you can now explain it to someone else. And that's the thing, you guys. If you take this, even if you don't use Living Your Design Guide training ever, taking it and being able to explain it to another person levels up your awareness of what it really is, how this all works, how the mechanics works in the design, because there's nothing like actually having to teach and explain something for learning. You know, I remember talking to Linda Bonnell when I first met her, and she signed my human design book. She's like, I was like, I can't even imagine being able to write all this. She says, you have to know it really well if you're going to write it. It's the same thing with teaching. You have to really be able to know this in your gut, in your cellular level, to be able to transmit it to another person. If at any level you are uncertain, up here in this Ajna center, my mouse is not working. Give me the pointer. Okay, so if at any level you're uncertain of how it works, you don't have a gut sense or an intuition or a feeling or a recognition of some kind of how it works, and somebody asks you the question, I want you to say, you know, that's a really good question. And then you describe what you see of the mechanics in the body graph, and then you turn it back on them and ask them again, do you recognize how this works for you now? And if they still go, then you need to perhaps refer out. So if you're a projector advising a generator, for first things first, I do want to highly recommend that you only serve your type in the beginning. And the reason for that is because you have already had the experience of living your type your whole life and utilizing this information for the first, however long you've been in it. Maybe it's been a year, maybe it's been 3 years. And yeah, you have a fear of helping other types. Exactly. That's the thing. You absolutely cannot know, Veronica, what it's like to be an emotional projector, right? You can't, not from the gut awareness of what it feels internally for me to be me, because you are you, and your design is so radically different. Here you go. Look at this difference. Look at the massive difference here between our designs. You just can't know. And so if you decide that you have this open house and everybody is asking questions and you get a projector that's completely lost and confused, refer them out. That's all you have to do. You can ask me if they're in your class, you decided to go against my advice, totally advice, you don't have to take it. But you decide to go against my advice, you have an open LYD for all of the types, and you get a question that really stumps you. Just turn around and say, that's a really great question. Do what I said. Speak to the mechanics. Does it work for you? Don't know. Okay, so let me get back to you. There may be a way that we can communicate to you that will work better. And so I'm going to ask. And then you go and ask somebody who is their type, their authority, perhaps even their profile. You get resonance to answer that person's question. Because if you look at the design, this is the science of differentiation. We have billions of people on this planet, and what Ra did, which is absolutely brilliant, only brilliance can really take something complex and distill it down into something very, very simple in order to transmit it way down deep down the fractal line. So now, if there's not enough resonance between you and the other person to where they can really hear you, and usually they're only going to come to you if they can really hear you. You know, they're only going to shell out some money if they can really understand where you're coming from, if they're comprehending where you're coming from. If they can't, they're not your people. So any of you who are listening to me and you're like, I have no idea where this woman is, she's way out in left field, you're not my student. You're not here to learn from me. Go learn from someone else. But if you've got somebody in there, they happen to have some kind of resonance, they're on your fractal somehow, really, this is what works, guys, is get them to someone who's been in the experiment long enough to where perhaps they can get it from that person. So you can either ask me if I'm an emotional projector, split definition, 3-5. I believe, who was it? Another Living Your Design Guide teacher, somebody who I actually went to school with 4 years ago, referred me in one of the projector groups, a 3-5 split definition emotional projector, said, hey, I need to learn from somebody. Who do you recommend? My name came up from a fellow Living Your Design Guide. So that leads me to another piece. One of the things that I do, I love contagiating people with this information. I love supporting my people, the tribe. And what I did was, in the beginning, I created, Carol referred you to me, Veronica, and we are very different, but there was something there that she recognized that perhaps we would click on. Yeah, she's really good at knowing what mutation, when what's ready to mutate. She can see patterns, and so the referral is really supportive and helping all of us be more successful. And here's what I created. At first, it was a Living Your Design guide group in this Certified Human Design Professionals. It's totally not, I'm not paid by Jovian for it. It's a volunteer-run group. I have other members who are admins who help out with watching the discussion and stuff, but it's just basically there for us to network and connect. So I created this post that I've stuck to the top that has other people's charts, and you can start to familiarize yourself with other people in the industry, get to know their designs, perhaps refer out. They might refer to you. It's not something that is required at all. It's just another resource that's there for you. So what I do is I like to share things that I recognize into this group that would be really great for you to use in your practice. So let's say you create your own Facebook page and you want to share the quote from International Human Design School. Let's say that you are really good on camera and you want to create your own YouTube. You could take this quote, read it on YouTube, and then spiel about it. It's just some places for inspiration and referral and networking. So that's something that you get to come into. You can request to join once you've been a certified professional. And at this moment, I run this group. Another group that I run is the Human Design System group. You might have been with me for a long time with that one. In the beginning, it was just my little tribe. And then at some point, enough people kept wanting to join that I opened it up to everybody. I placed one ad in Jovian Archives newsletter, which is another way I'm going to help you guys beyond this Living Your Design Guide training. That extra, how do you guys be successful, looking at your BG5 career stuff. I'm also going to show you some tips and tricks for how to market yourself on the internet, which is not something that maybe is for you. Maybe you're more of an in-person person. Maybe you need the human interaction and you hate Facebook. But this is also an opportunity and where for you to learn. And where I have this information is here. Here in the Living Your Design Guide Success Training group. So there's 3 groups. You can be joining if you want to. If you're in too many of my groups already, you're in already the LYD, ABC, or cartography, you may feel like you want to turn off those notifications and only get notifications from one of these groups. This is the group I want you to have, okay? So the notifications of Living Your Design Guide Success, having joined this class, you're going to be able to be a member of this group, and we're going to work with each other on supporting each other. So you can see that Darshana is part of this group. She's been my mentor for many years. She has joined all of my cartography classes as a additional teacher, and she may or may not join us for any of these Living Your Design Guide pieces. For any study groups that we have in here, she may or may not join. I just want to let you know that that's available too. And there's some resources here. There are going to be resources in the units. So as over time, I am going to continue to add material here. And you can see that this is one of the components. How to be a successful human design professional. Well, that's one of the pieces. And I think here, this is going to help. The BG5 information is one of the things that I'm going to deliver to you that's going to help. So once I get this delivered, perhaps by the end of the week, I'm going to put it up into this classroom area under one of these units, probably right here. So that's another resource that I'm giving to you. And of course, you have lifetime membership where you're going to be able to have down the road, let's say 5 years from now, you finally decide to utilize your Living Your Design Guide training and you want to brush up on your skills. Come into the group, see when the next classes are being run, come in and just observe, audit. Perhaps I will call on you. And that's actually one of the things I do recommend that you do is if you feel at any point uncertain about a certain component, let's say you're a non-energy type, and you're deciding after some years of experience that you want to start guiding energy types. Or maybe you're just ready because you're like Jennifer. She's married to an energy type. She knows those generators. She's watched her husband experiment and experience what it's like to be in the experiment. So maybe she and her husband at some point do a Living Your Design workshop. I like to call it, again, awakening experience. That's what works. Everybody wants an awakening experience. Nobody wants a workshop. So let's say that you're about to teach that. Please feel free, if you feel at any level uncomfortable, uncertain, unsure, let me know and we'll put you in whatever upcoming classes are coming up so that you can repeat, audit. Maybe I go to you and you can deliver some of the information yourself if you want to. You know, the tribal support elements that I have in my design. It's part of how I make money. Gate 21, line 3, sells worthiness based on you being part of our tribe. You're one of us. So joining me in this experiment, in this Living Your Design Guide training for success, particularly, you're one of us now. I want you to feel very welcome and comfortable that you're going to be able to be successful with this, whatever your level of success is. So this is a disclaimer now. I've gone into, you can get what you need if you decide to make human design your profession. Hi, I was not a human design professional 4 years ago. I am now. I am more wildly successful than I could have ever imagined because I kept following strategy and authority and because I kept getting invited and recognized and yada yada. But that's the signpost of a successful projector, helping other people have success. So going into the classes now that I teach, here's Living Your Design, here's ABCs, here's cartography, and here is the guide certification program. So now as a guide, as a teacher of guides now, my reputation, fifth line, I have 10 fifth lines in my design. The fifth line is the epitome of the hexagram. It is the marketing and messenger of the hexagram. It's the one that's here to call out to the other persons and get them on board. right? So that's what my fives do. My fives are seductive. My fives are attractive. My fives, I know I have to be practical, and this is the most practical way I can recognize for me to ensure my own reputation. So I'm not just doing it for you, I'm doing it for me, so that you guys can be successful. So I have a vested interest in your using this for you, however it is correct for you to use it. It's not that you have to use it the way that I do. You can see that I've had a lot of experience with teaching this. I just clicked this, there it goes. So if you look, you can see here's all the students that I've had in group. This does not count the one-on-ones that I used to do, which I stopped doing last year because I don't have the time to do one-on-ones with LYD guides, LYD clients anymore. It used to be a coaching thing, which is one of the reasons why I called my website Human Design Life Coaching. Human Design and Life Coaching, because I was life coaching before, and now I want to do human design work. So that's what I did for my URL, so that I could be seen. It's one of the little tips and tricks when you're giving yourself a URL. You want something that people are going to search for. So this is what I do. And here's the people that have been in my classes. Now, one of the things that I'd like to do and request of you is that if you do go through this program with me, that we have some kind of meeting afterwards. Whenever you're ready, you don't have to do it right away, but whenever you're ready to get your start as a Living Your Design guide, I want to be able to interview you for my YouTube channel. So that's going to do two things. It's going to put you out to my network of people who are subscribers to my YouTube channel. So here you can see that I have got, it's not a lot, 2365, but being able to interview you with your design will do two things. It's going to get you exposed to my people so that, oh, somebody sees that's a person that I really resonate. I can hear them, look at their design. There's something about them. I want to contact them. So I want to help ensure your success in that way. So you can do that whenever you're ready. Another thing that I would like to do is you can see here, Stacy and Rose were both students of mine for years, and then they went to Carol Zimmerman and got certified. So did Julie Hamilton, are also certified. There's other people too, but one of the things you can do if you want to is become a admin in this large group. I do not have time to monitor and read everything and respond to everything. This is one of the ways I know works. You can, if you want to, admin in this group and advertise your events here under the calendar. So that's going to also help you be able to attract attention of other people. At this point, this group used to be just my tribe. At this point, it's because I advertised once in Jovian. Oh, and that's one of the things. You can advertise once, or you can advertise 3 times and they give you a discount. And I'll let you know all the details about that once you're certified if you choose to. That's one of the ways that I got started. Was I only did projectors, I advertised in Jovian, and I created a Facebook group. So this is one of the things that I recognize works. And by utilizing this platform that you already have, you could also go off and start your own group. In fact, I would highly recommend that you start your own group and you nurture and protect and take care of and care for that group of people. Because especially with you guys with your 4s, your network, if Facebook is fun for you, it doesn't have to. If you're not a Facebook person, then don't worry about it. You might do this with a group of people in your community, you know, where you have a regular meeting. But it's one of the things I really encourage, and I hopefully will be able to fit in the time to do. I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to focus on my my students for the most part. But one of the things I recognize works is giving back to the community, educating the community, your network, your people, whoever it is that you have, you know, just the people that are in your fractal are going to see and recognize you if you are there to be seen. So by giving free information, which is one of the ways that I've managed to figure out what works for me, is creating little videos, taking elements of training, sectioning them up, putting them on YouTube or putting them in the Facebook group, making myself available to answer questions, doing study groups, those types of things. Those are what works. It's going to let you have an exposure to teaching, because the more that you teach, so in the beginning, you guys who have been with me a while will recognize, the more that you just, hey, study group, let's get together, let's look at charts, let's practice keynoting. That's what makes you good at this, is repetition and utilization of the information as much as possible. So I know you can do this if you're committed to the human design system and to integrating the knowledge into your experience. It becomes this point where you cannot see anything but hexagrams, and you cannot see anything but channels and life force and energy. And if you start to see with the system as a framework, you start to recognize the patterns, you start to get really good at being able to describe what you're seeing to another person so that it's transmitted and so that they get it. Now, it's not instantaneous. Here's another piece that I recognize for success. So, and by the way, I don't see any Q&As. Do I have a Q&A? Nope, no open questions. So I'm going to speak for a little bit longer, about 15 more minutes, and then we're done for today. Classes are always going to be an hour plus a half hour of Q&A if they're lecture. You might have recognized it if you've been in any of my classes before. I can't stick to that. Sometimes it's 2 hours long, but in these classes, this is the only class where it's going to be like this, where I'm lecturing and then you guys are giving me back maybe some questions. Everything else is going to be interactive. It's going to be a dialogue, okay, for this class. For this, there's no new material besides the application of how you take this and teach it to another person. Okay, so there's not new slides, I should say. I'm mentoring you guys. Okay, so, yes, it is best to teach their same type, Rose. I don't know, if you listened to, there's a video in and actually, Kathy, I was talking about it last week, Thursday, because I saw it and I went to go look for it. It wasn't there. It's still there. There's a video somewhere in one of the projector Facebook groups where Ra is delivering one of the first descriptions of him talking to, it's the first actually, first time he ever had a room full of projectors, and he described things directly to them. And he said, and I quote, "Go learn this from a projector. Go learn this from a projector, not from me, because the projector is here to master the system and really knows what it's like to be a projector. He has no idea what it's like to be a projector." Now, here's another quote. If you go and listen to, you should have gotten from the training program that you took with Carol, because this is where I got it, the original teaching of Ra describing what a Living Your Design Guide workshop is to a group of analysts. So he just lectured for 2 days. It's a lot of information. And I'm pretty sure that in that he said, serve your type. And I took that. And I think it was 3 years that I only taught projectors until I got so good and so confident and enough education. It was after I got my BG5 education that I really started to go, okay, now I'll even take in reflectors because they're so different. Normally I just refer them out. I still mostly just refer them out because they're so different. They're exactly different from me. So it is best in the beginning to serve your type. And there's 2 reasons why. Reason 1 is because you are that type, you are going to be the most impactful with the other. You are going to be the most resonant with the other if you're living your design. If they can hear you, they can grok. The word grok means just to take it in so deeply that it's almost like you're eating it. You're consuming it so that you have it within your cells. You're able to resonate and vibrate to a frequency that can truly affect the other person. Just think of how gurus, and not that I have the guru color underneath. I'm not a guru. But just think about traditionally the gurus in India, how people would come and just want to sit in their presence. It's like that. We're tuning forks, especially us projectors. We vibrate to a frequency that can tune the other. Now, it's not that you have to stick with teaching the same type. This is one of the successful things that I've learned in all my years of marketing. So besides human design, you guys, the thing that I always look at all the time, I can't help it, is looking into how do I attract attention? Gate 1, line 5, the energy to attract attention. Gate 8, line 5, oh my gosh, I'm making a contribution based on the group so that I can attract attention to this path, this unique, freaky, weird path that is human design. This is the strength of PR and marketing. This is the one channel, creative channel, so go here. The creative channel that is about leadership in small groups. This is my thing. I know this works. So what do? The reason why I'm giving you guys this BG5 stuff, guys, is because it's going to instantaneously put you into a place of recognizing how you are here to be successful as a specialist. You are here to specialize in very particular people. So it's not just in the openness that you make money. Your people that you serve are going to be dealing with the nodal environment. That's your gift. That's your path. Those are the people. They may not have just those gates. They may be dealing with that in their transits, or you're seeing everything in that way. And for some reason, they're here with their, solar return maybe, and they're resonating to the way that you see. And you guys hook in together, and that's where you're going to be successful. This is your fractal. These are your fractal people. Yeah. So, and oh, Rose, I my apologies. I didn't put you in here. Because you weren't on my roster. I forgot. You are one of the reasons why I have this at 8 o'clock in the morning is because you and Millard need it early in order to be here. So I will just add you right now. Yeah. So, and as with all of my presentations, I'm always tweaking right beforehand. And I only just created this presentation a few minutes before not this presentation, but put this slide a few minutes before we started. So that's why that oversight. Okay, so there's a comment here in the chat, and it's from Veronica. I have recognized that I have a lot of projectors around me now. You are all teaching me a lot. I love the relationship. Yeah. And that's the thing. One of the things that I recognize is really valuable is having us learn how to work together with our own type and how to work with the other types. It's one of the things that we teach at the BG5 Business Institute, and one of the things that I'm going to bring in so that if you do and when you do use your design and your certification to help lots of people, all kinds of people, not just your type. And so back to that type thing. If you go into your type and you go into your specialty first, you make a wedge into the market, you become known for something. I was known as the projector person. So you want to learn about projectors, being a projector, go to that person. And I got lots of referrals, because, oh, she just does projector classes. I want to go for her because she's only got projectors and it's very nurturing and supportive and blah, blah, blah. You get known for something and then you widen and broaden as you get more comfortable with what you can offer to your community. Whatever it is that you feel, that you recognize you have value, and then you can platform off into other areas of, whatever it's in alignment with you. Okay, mastery takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a recognition of how you can be successful for the other person. If you go to, I'm going to switch over to the I Ching and just talk to you about the material way that is successful. Look at this. If you go around and read all the third lines, you've probably already done this if you're a third line personality. Hi, I'm a third line personality. Third lines are here to be masters of the material plane. Look, the material way is service, the utilization of talent and wealth for the highest good. Right? Selfless contribution to society. The key to power and money lies in selfless contribution to others. In my design, I'm giving you as much access to me as possible without having to drain on my personal resources by working with you one-on-one. So I bring you into the classes that I'm already running where new people who come in, they got to pay for it. If it's a new class to you, you got to pay for it, right? So if you've already taken the class, it's 50%. If you haven't taken the class yet, it's the full price. Sometimes there's specials, like I did last month on this class. But in order to be successful, being of service materially, successful materially, it requires being of service. So that's one of the things I want you guys to look at your charts, and we're going to figure out, where are you most supported and happy and passionate and alive and fulfilled and still, getting what you need for you? How can we do that? Third lines figure out a way. They figure out a way. A third line is determined to discover what works. Oh, experiencing, meeting with people one-on-one too many times, offering, here, my third line, offering too many times and then not having enough energy for me. Oops, that didn't work. But still wanting to have, and knowing that I had this one-on-one power with the other. Here's what I've done in order to be successful in group, but still maintaining a one-on-one. Chart work. The last time I did Living Your Design, I did it on a weekend course with who was all there? Kenneth and Veronica, and they got to see a new way that I'm teaching LYD. You can teach LYD however it works for you. You get the structure, you cover the basics. As long as you're covering basics, it's still LYD. So this is my evolution after 4 years. Third line's like new and improved. I like to be able to change it up and to challenge myself. Look at this design. Oops, that's not here. Challenge. I want to perfect and improve. I want to figure out what works in this material pattern. I want to have it be more supportive for my tribe. What's going to make money, not just for me, but for them, and what's going to work and not work. So I have this capacity of looking into, pulling from all different kinds of places. 23, line 5, assimilation. The practical, assimilation of the values of another path, taking that in and being able to integrate it into what I do. So what I did was I only worked with charts. At this level, I already knew everything that you need to transmit to another person depending on their chart. And rather than working off of slides, we worked off of everybody's individual charts. And that's the only way I'm going to do LYD on a weekend course from now moving forward. So you're welcome to come to that. But that's what I recognized works. And that's how I work now when I do my classes. My ABCs is even starting to change, where I'm giving them more video homework and I'm having them work with charts more in class. This is how I'm doing my one-on-ones now. It's in the group. I'm speaking to that person's design. I'm talking specifically at them. I'm only focused on them, on their video, on them speaking. I turn off everybody else's camera sometimes, where I'm just, especially if I need to hear their frequency really well, I'm just focusing on seeing them and working with them individually. So that's something that I recognize works, particularly as a projector. Projector, one-on-one, powerful energy. I didn't have the energy anymore to meet with so many one-on-ones. There's too many people asking for my attention. So that's another thing that I've discovered that works. So being of service to the greatest amount of people in the least amount of resistance being bitterness. So not offering to anybody who isn't wanting my expertise. So that's another thing that I recognize that works, that you guys might want to learn. And that's going to transition me into, I'm going to talk more about this in the how BG5 can help you succeed as a human design pro. So I'm going into how to be successful as a type, a little bit about the nodes, how to be able to get more attention, and then the fact that these BG5 things can support you. So I'm also going to describe for you in the BG5 section, not the LYD section, how to read the career maps. Okay, and hopefully I'll be able to put these together, this and this. So 4 more minutes. I'll describe a little bit more about the juicy goodies I have in store for you if you sign up for this class with me. And then we'll sign off until next week. So next week is the beginning of class, where you're going to come. We're going to talk individually. We're going to have everybody meet each other, because a couple of you haven't met the other people in the group. I want us to have a nice, cozy, comfortable group where we're getting to know each other, and these relationships that we build. So this is one of the ways that I'm here to make a creative contribution and being able to help my tribe learn and grow together. Inspiration. my 61-3 inner truth, my driving force in my design. It's my conscious driving force, gate 61, line 3, in the head center. Selling inspiration through establishing relationships. The interdependence that we are here to be in alignment with requires that we work with other people and we treat them in alignment according to strategy and authority. That's interdependence. So by being a part of this group, you're going to have an opportunity to meet other people all around the world. Perhaps there's somebody that you co-run a class with, like Rose and Stacy met each other through my classes. Rose and Stacy are now teaming up because one of them, they're both 2-4 projectors. One of them's emotional, one of them's splenic. Between the two of them, they got most of the projectors covered. So the only, you guys didn't do this, you didn't maybe hear me teach on this. I would have, if you'd asked, I would have recognized that, hey, you guys are both 2-4 projectors. I'd do an LYD, even though it seems counterintuitive. No, we have to do an LYD for everybody. I'd do your first LYD just for right angle projectors. Why not? Or just for projectors. Why not? Because there is a fallacy inside of our head in the beginning when we don't know what we're really here for yet, that we can't turn anybody down or anybody down. And we got to make it open to everybody because that's how we're going to get the most people. And that's actually the counterintuitive thing is to specify, no, this is only for these people. We only want these people. We're specializing in only these people. And this is who we're here for. And then somebody comes see, instead of workshop, which is, I advised you guys, Stacy, last week to change that to awakening experience rather than workshop. But because you guys have it open to everybody, it's speaking to nobody. It's not, nobody who's a projector is not going, oh, I'm a projector. It's for me. Oh, okay, I'll show up. So that's my recognition of what can work in the beginning, to try it and see. Again, all of this is what's worked for me, may not work for you. Again, I'm showing you this slide. My career in business design is designed to, this is so funny, you guys. It's designed to make money. Making money is not the point, but my design in the openness and the areas and the wisdom potential, it really is designed to figure out what works. That's what I'm here to teach. I have to experience it first before I can teach it to anybody else, right? You don't want to go to a person who makes $100,000 a year if you want to make $1 million a year and you already make that, right? You want to go to somebody who's already been where you've gone or where you want to go. You, as a living your design guide, need to live this first before you can teach anybody else. And so the way, this is what it was so funny. I was speaking the very first time I talked to Linda, and I had been hired at Jovian Archive, and right before I met her, I drove down to meet her. I said, we were just talking as friends, and as new friends, of course, but friendly talk, not any specific. She just wanted to get to know me to see if I could work with them. And she said, because I said I was making so little money, I was really scraping by on some levels because I was following my strategy and authority, and I wasn't reaching out for any new jobs. At some points before I became a certified person, I was on welfare. And I said, I haven't figured out this money making thing. I don't know how it works. Even though in the past I'd been in different industries with somebody else. So as somebody's partner, my husband, I'd made big money in real estate and such, but by myself, And she's like, don't worry, you'll figure it out. She said it so confidently that I was like, oh, okay. And it took me a while to really ingrain it to where I'm like, now I know, now I see. This design is teaching, look, quit saying yes to the things that are going to fail and instead follow your own authority. Inspiration. Establish relationships for the interdependence. That's what's materially successful. The powerlessness from gate 21, line 3 is being your own boss. Not having a boss is what makes money. selling community. You are worthy if you turn your power over to the community. Come be a part of us, be a part of our tribe, okay? So, and that's in the channel of money. Yeah, it doesn't matter that you can't read the tiny text. You're going to get a download of this so you can see it. Here's it on a bigger slide. So this is it in my design, and we're over time, so I'm just going to wrap it up with this last point so you can see it on the slide. One of the ways that we're teaching at the BG5 Business Institute for people to be aligned with their material way, because that's the concept. Third line is the material way. That's how Ra taught it. The 64 material ways is talking about undefined centers with third lines in them. And I have 3. Sometimes people don't have any. But even if you don't have those, you still have gates in undefined channels in an undefined center. And here's all the rest of them that I have. All of these here are the third line way of each of those gates. And that is how I make money. So I'm going to do this hopefully for you guys where I can, it's going to take me a little bit because I have to put it in and complete it. But looking at your designs of how you're here to be materially successful, remember that this is only mind candy until you're following your strategy and your authority. You cannot hope to be successful in a way that's completely life-giving and fulfilling and satisfying or successful for you on a genetic level, for you on how you're here to be fulfilled. That feeling of inner fulfillment that doesn't come from the outside conditions, but actually from you living your purpose. It has to come through strategy and authority. But here I'm showing you the keys, which is so exciting. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. So that's one of the things that you can do if you become a certified business consultant at the Institute, is you can start to do these. We're teaching the certification class this fall. So that is my spiel for now. And I could go on and on and on, but I do have other things to do today. So last call for any other questions. Rose says, thanks for ideas and inspirations you're discussing about specializing to a certain group. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. It really does make a difference. It makes an important difference to be able to give back to the people you know you have the most impact with. Hi, emotional projectors. That's me for my tribe, my people. Now, it's not to say that there's not other people who might be really aligned with how I teach or how I speak or what I'm here to transmit to them. There might be somebody who's on my fractal or who's really attracted to perhaps the electromagnetics that we have in our individual connection chart, and together we can really achieve something. That's the interdependence, is what we need each other. I can't start things all by myself. I have to be invited into it. Somebody has to give me some juice. So Karen at the Institute, recognizing this, she's got the 53 and 54. I've got the 42 and 32. I come back and give her guidance on, okay, how can we improve this? How can we make it better? What's really working? Are there any typos? How can we enhance the experience? That's what I'm here for. So I hope that you guys have had a fun experience today, even though we didn't have the same level of interaction like we normally do in classes. We'll do that for the rest of all the classes. So I want to thank you for being here and just say, until next time, love yourself. Bye for now.